Incremental readings. So this is the 28th section of the Pleasurable Guide to SuperMemo and the last one in the Fluency cycle. And it's the outro of the Fluency cycle. So basically is applying, what you will learn here is applying or some suggestions to apply what you have learned in this cycle. Yes, let you know what has been left, even though I usually say you need section 8, this is for left in the mastery, I will do it in the other way around. I'll have the mastery with its own contents. So you see what has been left. So instead of telling you the holes there are in the cheese, I'm going to tell you that's the master cheese, look at the contents. Even though we will have holes, because they will be called completionist, and the completionist will be a cheese without holes. Here's some motivation or some mindset video. If you're ready, if you should care about doing the mastery, if it's for you, the mastery cycle. Even if it's not, then further watching. So after you have watched the Fluency cycle, some playlists of other videos I have done previously. About 300 are already taken out, so they're unlisted because they have been superseded with the course, but some are not. Like my milestones, there is still something you can learn from that. Then, why does the tutoring can be useful? Or can be the continuation, meaning I don't need the mastery cycle, it's way too much, but I have this pinpoint or this need, or let me fill it in with a tutoring session. Or hey, I'm struggling, especially in the skill set and acquiring the habit, the soft skills, tutoring. Because this is not possible to do in a course, because there are way too many different people with many different personalities, requirements, and so on. And then what I learned myself during the Fluency course, the Fluency cycle. Like some, I don't know, behind the scenes kind of thing to wrap up the course. And finally, my greetings, like saying goodbye to the project, not the project, but the Fluency cycle of the project, which is rather sentimental for me. Just to wrap up, to put a closure that, hey, it finished here. There are no more videos. That's why, aesthetically speaking, this section is optional, because this section is about the course itself, not incremental reading or SuperMemo. But if you followed the course so far, I suggest to give it a shot. And especially if you want to see my side, my personal, as a human, my personal side from the course. I will appreciate that because I have put on more than 1,000 hours. It's been a big deal. So without further ado, let's start the last section of the cycle. So now what I want to convey is you need to apply what you have learned in the Fluency cycle. If you notice here, there are no slides. There is no need for slides. So I hope that during the course, you have already done that. Hey, now introduce concepts. Okay, let me do concepts in my collection from now on. So you introduce this incrementally in your daily flow. If you did a lot of binge watching, let's say, now you can do it. Now you can do everything that we covered from now on in your collection. Then you realize, hey, perhaps I don't want that or I don't need it. It's the best. If that's the best solution, feel free. But at least you know what it is and how it works, at least the first layer. But that is key, because here, this course is just video, right? Video content. You have to put your part by yourself. If you only see the videos, and especially if you don't create flashcards, or you don't download the flashcards that I will have when they are available as a paid extra, you will keep forgetting. I already experienced that with a few people who followed the course, the early adopters. And then they said, hey, it's been 2 weeks or 2 months, and I'm already forgetting material, right? Don't trust your memory. First, don't trust your memory. Second, take it incrementally. There's no rush, but the key is to apply what you have learned. And especially, that's what I cannot comprehend, I can only imagine that if I would have done the course, so if now I can erase my memory, like in Men in Black movie, and I will do the course, it will be, oh wow, it's too much information at once. And yes, it's true. But keep in mind, you have gone to the highway for 50 hours. So you have a lot of insights, knowledge, and information. So this requires iteration to have a meaningful use of everything, and especially some stuff that you need time. So you need to accumulate a backlog to then do rescheduling features, even though you know how they work, you haven't used them properly. Not because you don't know how to use them properly, it's because you don't have the scenario that will be useful yet. So you need still some time for that. That's more or less what I wanted to convey. No slides. Applying what you have learned in the course. Now I want to cover what has been left for the mastery cycle. Even though we have mentioned many times, hey, if you want this or more in depth of that, what's the mastery cycle? Wait for the mastery cycle, blah, blah, blah. But now we will see the big picture of the contents of the mastery cycle. Because there are some overlapping sections that go more in depth, or there are new sections entirely that we didn't cover or even mention. So I will be showing you my project with Notion because it's an ongoing process. So first, the size is much bigger. At the time of the recording is 1,625 videos, but keep in mind the videos no longer have any reference because now, for instance, there are some videos that could be 1 hour long. They are no longer atomic. So I will go by hours, but I cannot know how many hours they have until I don't do them. Basically, that's more or less the order. For now, this will be changing with time. I have two options: superset, meaning expands on content, but for instance, element operations, we have seen element operations, but we go advanced or diminishing returns. And then we have new, like this, stats. Stats are analytics, the plots. Neural review, final reel, imports, but those are not web imports, are the other imports from local files, XML, and all of this. Final reel, incremental audio, pam. Okay. What has been kept for mastery is all of this. I will let you to pause the screen if you want for the supersets because it's something we already have seen, just most of it, more. Then, lapses and leeches. We haven't tackled this properly, an entire section about that. A specific use case and comparisons. Then, more of what we have seen in more detail, search, operations, references, Then, full-fledged neural review, we have only mentioned it, we will do it for real. Then, using artificial intelligence, the stats, imports as I mentioned that before, Then, the other flavors of incrementalism, incremental learning. We have only covered incremental reading. We will see incremental audio, writing, video, not necessarily in order. And then we'll have incremental learning, the theory behind it. Because we covered the theory only of mainly of the reading. Then specifically reading books. Here you go, analytics, part 1, because there's plenty, there are more than 400. There's plenty of stuff that will be covered on the completionist. Random, you can do a lot of things. There are a lot of features about random stuff. Auto hotkey, part 1. SuperMemo 20 once it's released. And then we'll have those two, I'm not sure still, conventions and speed. I don't know if making them on its own section or they will be distributed. Or this is a convention about concepts, in the concepts. Or this one is about this registry, image registry with images. I'm actually not sure how to distribute that. And those that you see in blue is because are purely theoretical. Meaning, I only use SuperMemo as to display the text, the slides, but I'm not going to use SuperMemo at all. Which basically is the theory of SuperMemo, the land drive, common struggles in incremental reading. Each one of those will be its own video, but they will be long. For instance, this is already done, advanced and advantages and disadvantages of incremental reading, but this is more than 6 hours long. Yeah. Myths of incremental reading. Will be done also especially, can be followed outside of the course of the Pleasurable Guide to SuperMemo. The same as common struggles, there will be some SuperMemo flavor, but in land drive, incremental reading theory, again, could be consumed outside of the course. So it has been left for the mastery track. And what do you mean advanced concepts, advanced priorities? It's only advanced, right? But if we go to an example, it's just the overall, I will only mention this as an example. The overall feeling is that it's diminishing returns. Hey, we have seen to set root and hooks, yes, but this is from the knowledge tree. And then this, what happens if a concept element has itself a concept group? Yes, you can set a different concept group to itself. It's possible. What happens? Then, temporary concepts. What happens when transferring a branch to another collection, specifically the concepts? We haven't tackled this because one of the simplifications with Fluency cycle is that we only keep one collection. And then converting. What happens if I convert a task into a concept, or a topic into a concept, or vice versa, a concept to a topic? This is one of the examples that, hey, some of the stuff it's possible, but it will be pointless. Some of the stuff it's possible, can be useful, but not much, or only in very specific situations. More or less, that is the thing. So whenever you see advanced, means this. And sometimes it's already diminishing returns because it's the next layer already. Here is one of the examples that is still on the mastery, but most of them are in the next one, on the completionist. So here you have an overview. So now you know, hey, more or less what I'm missing, what I'm not, so you can assess better if you want to do the mastery cycle or not. So now we will focus if you're ready for the next cycle, the mastery cycle. Once again, there are no slides because it's just a natural conversation. That first, it's optional. Depends on your goal. If you have finished the fluency cycle, you keep applying you have learned for a while, 3 months, whatever duration. For you it's enough, feel free to continue. You can always come back and do the next cycle. The content is evergreen. So even if I pass away, the content will be there. So YouTube will need to die, basically. So that's the key. Remember, everything is self-paced. So you decide if you do the next cycle, if it's worth for you, and when you start. Could be right away. If you did a lot of incrementalism during the course, you will do it right away. Perhaps you want to do your own stuff. Okay, now I have the feeling, the sensation. I have integrated most of the knowledge from the fluency cycle. Then I will start. Could be that it's next year, 2 years, 10 years. Some of the tutorees, they went next level after a decade of using SuperMemo. So there's no rule of thumb. Is whatever it works for you. It will always be there. Then, to answer the question more literally, what do you need to be ready for the next cycle? Basically, having watched the entire fluency cycle, because everything that is there, it will be taken for granted. So, we have seen the sections. If now we are in the lapses and leeches, I introduced the wizard already. So I'm not going, when this window appears, I'm not going to describe what it is, the sections and so on, because this will have been covered. Or templates, if I say impose template, I'm not going to describe what it is, because this has been covered already, and in a quite large detail. So that means that in case you started SuperMemo before, and you could say, I think I'm already a fluent user, let me start with the mastery, there will be holes. When you do the course, you detect holes, I suggest first going to more or less the equivalent section first. So if it's templates, go to the first and second section of templates in the Fluency cycle. And if it's more basic, I will just do the entire course. And once you see, I know this, boom, you skip a chapter, here, more or less. Because it has been taken for granted the sequence of videos. It's a limitation, basically. If you want something specific to you, that, hey, I don't want to watch the entire course because, let's say, I know 80% of the content, it's 20% remaining, another solution is to get tutoring. And you will go fast track to what you need. So instead of taking at the highway at very high speed, you will take a plane, going directly to where you need. So, are you ready for the next cycle? That's your call. You may have noticed that in some videos, and all videos in the captions, in the description, I always say you can get tutoring, right? One-on-one tutoring. So basically, I present this now at the end of the course because it could be of your interest. Basically, the one-on-one tutoring can be mastery, not in the sense of mastery track, but in mastery of whatever you want to achieve. So bridging the gap between watching the course, the videos, and mastering incremental reading. Because just watching doesn't transfer mastery. You need to be an active learner, process the information, apply the information, and iterate and all of that. Even if I try to do my best with the course, just by watching like if it was a movie, doesn't mean, hey, now I'm a pro in SuperMemo, right? Even though you have most of the content already. So first, there's the theory and reality gap. So the video course gives you the map, perhaps the best map available. There's nothing else available on this extents inequality and quantity and whatever. So now you have to walk the terrain. So SuperMemo is the most powerful learning tool in the world, as we speak, but also has the steepest learning curve. And watching is not the same as doing, as we have said. I'm not going to say what is incremental reading, you already know that. Just pause the video if you haven't seen if you just come here, if you just came here from YouTube, you are not following the course, then pause and read the slide. Then, why videos are not enough for incremental reading? Because videos teach the standard way, and your brain needs a personalized way. So most of the tutorials I had is that I already know the basics, or most of the basics, but I don't know enough to have a flow of what I want. I cannot convert, okay, if I want this, in SuperMemo, that means, it means creating subsets, all of that, right? Or I want to do SuperMemo alongside another app. You need to know SuperMemo, the ins and outs, the features, the pam. So first, you know the use cases possible and assess the friction it will have, and then assess, okay, it's viable, or it's viable, but for me, because of friction, I won't do it. Because incremental reading relies on keyboard shortcuts and rapid decision making. Keyboard shortcuts you have seen on the screen most of the time, no big deal. It's just one example that is easy to relate. And rapid decision making, which is very hard to convey because there are no genuine sessions on the course. It's how to do this, how to do that, when it's useful, when it's not, but we don't have genuine examples. That will be on SuperMemo in action outside of this course. So all of those little decisions, why he decided this at this time and so on, This is the complicated stuff that with a video which can quite lost. For instance, this happens with Piotr Wozniak videos that they do react to explicitly say all what he's doing, more or less. Still not genuine flow. So what's the risk? Developing bad habits, you're just not aware that this is a bad habit, and you will do it, and you will wish hundreds of hours later. Because every time you do this bad habit, it's going against you. So the more days you have this, the more time you will iterate this mistake, this bad habit. Some people even had to use SuperMemo for longer than I did in natural time, but they stayed to the basics. And then just to mention one example, one person was always filtering subsets, only the outstanding, and then start a subset review. But hey, did you know that Control L does this already? Is a difference with the shift or the button. If you use the browser, the button will default to this, review all, instead of learn. But if you do Control L, you bypass the step of filter by outstanding, because learn will ignore the ones that are not outstanding. That means that he has been doing this several times a day, multiple steps that were redundant. Imagine that. Then, even though it goes more complex than that, it's not that, oh, this layer is not required and so on. It's more complex than this. But so you get the point, more or less. Then, what the coaching, I call tutoring, but I prefer to call it coaching, because tutoring is kind of content-based, mathematics, language, and so on, and formal education in the school system. That's why I prefer coaching, that, hey, I'm going to help how you can learn by yourself, through learning, and with some software, in this case specifically, but not limited to SuperMemo. So this could be set up if you want something, learning a style, please don't be visual, kinesthetic and that crap. But that, hey, I prefer to have my flashcards on the phone, so I use Anki. So we'll configure SuperMemo, but with the flow that I will set the flashcards to Anki at the end of the day. Or with Obsidian, whatever combination you want to do. Or sometimes that the person has some disabilities and needs to be customized. Guided practice. That sometimes it's just to confirm. Some people is that, hey, I already have a flow. I'm not. There's several questions here. Is that, hey, I'm clueless. I don't even know where to start. I'm totally lost, and I get tutoring. Okay, versus slash coaching. The one is, hey, I developed this flow. Let me check if it's a good flow, because that will be me before spending so many times, up to 3,000 hours, then to realize it was not a good flow. So then it's just ask for confirmation. Hey, is this what I do a good practice? And if not, why? What is wrong and why? What could be the options? And suggest options based on my preferences and so on. And then troubleshooting. Stuck on an error, nothing is messy, something more technical that I cannot recover from a backup, I cannot open the collection, whatever. Or is more that, hey, I have done a bad practice for a very long time, what can I do to more or less undo it? There's no full undo, but I don't want to start from scratch, right? Or something more specific. There are many possible cases here. Then, overall, the learning SuperMemo alone takes trial and error and a long time. I have said half a year to a year. Just to be sure, I will tell you something, and that's on record. I recorded, there's a playlist of the raw footage of using SuperMemo when I started. I recorded everything. So I had in the first month, about 40 hours. When I considered, hey, there's the need for me to continue recording my sessions because I don't do anything new, right? I only execute the incremental learning loop. I'm not doing anything new anymore. The time I invested, not counting all I have read before, which was a lot already, was about 40 hours. This course If you take, it's about 47 hours, depends because some videos needs to be reshot and some videos are pending. A few videos. It will be about 45, 47 videos, 45, 47 hours. You take out the intro and the outro, that is about the course, not about SuperMemo. It's about the same, 40 hours. So imagine what I did with 4 weeks by myself, putting a lot of time and effort, versus the same with the course. With the same time frame, with the course, I was here with a lot of effort, you will be here with the same time. Because I'm not just presenting what is there, I'm also adding my 2 cents based on my experience. Not just my experience, which is a lot, because I experimented many hours every day. I wanted to exploit every single detail I have seen about SuperMemo. Not just that, it's that something I have seen from a tutorial, something I didn't do myself, but I know all of the behind it. So it's a big deal. But there's a ceiling. It's video, it's only what's covered. Hey, I have this specific flow. It's not covered in the course, right? You can get tutoring for that. So basically what you get is a fast track or time collapse value. You stop fighting for the software, the friction that, shit, I want this, this doesn't pop, or now I have this duplicated, doesn't do what I want, what is this bug, or whatever, right? So sooner you start running the material, not SuperMemo. Or you will be, with SuperMemo, learning how to use SuperMemo itself for a while. So the next steps is just getting tutoring sessions. That is one-off, because that's what you needed. One-off. Like, hey, the fridge doesn't work. I need someone to fix it, and that's it. No. I'm not going to fix the fridge, the refrigerator. I'm going to fix it, but I'm going to teach how to do it. Therefore, you're not going to require my assistance in the future, which is pretty bad for my business, because you're not going to repeat as a customer. But that's my point. It's my philosophy. I'm going to provide you the free learning skills. So you are your own teacher. You are not going to require my assistance anymore. It's my definition of success. Then what I can see, because is the tutoring. I have been doing tutoring for years, but it's not the scaling in quantity. I will think of this from the course. That, hey, get a 4 sessions block, so it's cheaper or something like that. And whoever gets tutoring, by default, automatically, they will get free stuff that will be paid gold to get you started. Like my templates, styling, something that I teach you how to do it for free, but for peak convenience, you just have the files, boom, done. You're just paying convenience at the end of the day. Everything will know how to do it for free. And especially because after more than half a year of publishing the course, I had very few donations, fewer than 1 per month. So it's not working. I don't know if it's because it's not finished yet. It's pay what you want, donation based. By default it's free. And if that doesn't work out, and I cannot put time for the mastery, at least I will help some people. But the Fluency is doing a lot already. If you ask me, I have done, let me recap, 1 baccalaureate that exists, I think it's 2 years, certificate. I have done 2 bachelors and 4 masters. I spend a lot of time and a lot of resources. If I didn't have tuition fees, I would have owned an apartment, a very tiny apartment already. Because before it was a lot cheaper, not now that I need all my savings from retirement and still more to pay an apartment. Imagine this. Compare this, the real formal education I have done and compare with SuperMemo. If it was a course, how to use this tool that is very hard to get used to, and could be one-on-one, so I have the course, and then one-on-one assistance of what I wanted, all of the more than 3,000 hours I wasted in Anki, doing low-quality items, flashcards and so on, it's priceless. The amount of time, trial and error that I save, and all of the amount of tuition fees I'm not going to spend, because I have the certificates, but that doesn't translate in a good job necessarily. A bargain. If I would have paid the same, the equivalent of what I paid, more than tens and tens of thousands across my life, that's my value. If I could travel in time and hire myself from the future, I will pay 50,000 K and it's well worth it. Because today I will be in the same position I am today, but with a lot less effort and a lot less time. So I could have spent more time socializing or sleeping well during years, and so on and so on. That's why, for me, this is a bargain. And if I could paywall the course and put the price of the SuperMemo, it's changing a little. I think now it's $70 without my link. With my link will be 63, 10% off. For each section, I will gladly pay that price. But it's because I know the value, it's massive. And I know this is very hard to get. You are not going to appreciate the value of this course until you have done it. That's why I'm wrapping up the video. Most of the tutorees tell me, oh wow, now that I have spent the money and the time with your assistance and your perhaps people without the tutoring, just the videos and some quick answer, free answer on Discord, so without formal tutoring. It's wow, now I see it. It's changed my life. Wow, this is massive. And some people had this for a few $100. Wow, super cheap. Super cheap. It's a steal. And keep in mind, this is for life. So you get those skills. From now on, you no longer need me. It's not that it's a subscription-based, whatever. So that's all about one-on-one mastery, and it's well worth the price. You have to believe my word, but if you don't, just ask whatever online if you see some of my tutorees answer. You never know. And you get real feedback, not just from me. That's all I can say. And because I love it. I love SuperMemo, despite the huge downsides and negatives. Because I love incremental reading. Because I love learning. And I love teaching others how to discover this. If I could, I will do it for life. But there's not enough people, at least with SuperMemo. But if this could become my job, I will sign the contract in a split second. So this will be the most meta video. So it's what I have learned during the course of SuperMemo. So the video is not about SuperMemo itself, not about the course, the Pleasurable guide to SuperMemo. It's about what I have learned about it while doing it. If you noticed, in this section, there's no slideshows. There's only one slideshow. Most of that is empty because everything is crystal clear. I don't need it. Then in this case, is I think the second last video before saying goodbye. So I will do a different flow. I will be more or less in line of incremental writing. So instead of reading the screen, I'm going to develop because I want to be genuine, and I will take note of what I'm saying. Incremental readings. So basically, I decided to split this video. It was too long. So even though I have created the bullet points incrementally, generally, as I was going through, I will create an introduction of each video. But keep in mind, this is post-editing. Let me start with this. Worst timing possible. What does that mean? I live in an apartment, one single room apartment. I use the chroma key, but you will see my bed here. and it's the only room. Then I have the living room, which a corner is the kitchen, the restroom. In this case, there's a door in between. Then we have the laundry room that you can open the door and that's it. You have the washing machine and the clothing and stuff, and that's it. That's the entire apartment. So what happens is that I'm very constrained when I can record, because I'm sharing the bedroom. So if my fiancé is sleeping, I cannot record. Or if it's here or whatever, I cannot record because of the noise, right? Awesome. Second, I need sunlight. I use natural sunlight through the window because the room is so tiny, I don't have a space for lighting because it's just less than 2 meters. So it's physically impossible to have everything set up. So I rely on natural sunlight. That was true since the start of not the course, but the channel in 2020. But what was even worse, make it worse, is that my fiancé was in medical leave. It has been in medical leave for more than 18 months. That means she was always at home. So the time I could record, it was almost never that I'm physically alone at home, almost never. So it was always a trade-off. Hey, could you wear the headphones in the meantime and non-speak or whatever so I can record? And so on. This went into some fights, or not fights, arguments that, hey, I want to record, so don't clean in the kitchen, because it's super nearby, because the apartment is super tiny, because the microphone picks everything up, right? So I had to schedule that, hey, now I wanted to record, and it was not possible to do. And Saturday morning that I wanted to record, impossible. So that made it a lot harder, because I had to fight when I was able to record to begin with, and with enough conditions, with silence and sunlight. That's one thing. Now we will see the underwhelming feedback. Second was, I could say, I don't mind the typos, underwhelming feedback. So one of the things I predicted is, hey, since this course is very long, has been half a year of publishing videos. It's been longer than a year, because I spent hundreds of hours in Notion, deciding the structure, the contents, especially the beginning, deciding the sequence of introducing the jargon, the UI, this window, this section of the window, this jargon, this other jargon, and so on. So therefore, I had about half a year of time publishing videos, skipping the videos for the subscribers, so it doesn't go to your inbox in YouTube. But it has been underwhelming. I got almost no feedback. Is the pacing right? Is the style good enough? The only thing I had, which I already knew, was to have in the screen the keyboard shortcuts. And I did this on purpose, that, hey, this video is not worth it. This video, I will do it, because I will do some stuff that I don't mention. Even though it has been mentioned in previous videos, perhaps you don't know what I'm doing. So you will see the key binding, oh yeah, control space, oh yeah, he opened the contents in the browser or whatever. But other than that, I got, oh yeah, I don't like the AI generated thumbnails. But you know what I mean? As a course, didactical, I got almost the feedback. And then this month, in November, some person said, hey, this video is duplicated in the playlist. Hey, this other video is duplicated in the playlist, again, in our playlist. Because no one else told me that. And even if I use Notion, and I'm very, very consistent, I'm human, so I do some mistakes. That what has happened, that, oh man, I was hoping to get more feedback. I'm not complaining that some videos have 0 views, and today, after some months, they still have 0 views, even though they are in a playlist. That means that some playlist, still no one watched every single video. And I don't mean the entire video, just enough for YouTube that counts of video watched, that are about, I don't know if they are 5 or 10 seconds. So this could be demoralizing, but it's, this is evergreen, is as a whole. So this video is part of a whole. I don't care if it's 0 views, because it will be in a playlist with a sequence, pam pam pam. And perhaps people are not seeing it because they consider they don't deserve it. They don't need it. Because with the title, it's very fine-tuned, and with the title, most of the time you can judge the content. Not the case with the images, for instance. At the very end of the course, the processing text and images, the videos are more condensed and contains more information out of what you will get from the title. But most of the time, that's true. So I know it's negative, but it's something that I could predict. What I could not predict, well, when I started is okay. I want to do it now. It's already late. I could have started sooner. But this was unpredictable. And kind of surprised me because when I was posting videos, I always had a few people who were always commenting my videos. Let's cover the next point of what I learned during this course. And it's the stagnant donations. To no surprise. Then, stagnant donations. Something that I could foresee. That, hey, why you have chosen to do it for free and just donation based? That doesn't work, right? Because SuperMemo, which is super niche, if my videos get a few hundred at most views, if that's for free, imagine if it's paywalled. So yes, I could get some money, but from 100, let's say, to be optimistic, 20% pay, I will get 20 per what I charge for the course. And that's about it. End of the story. So I prefer sign-up donations. And whoever sees value and have money can donate. If you see value, but you are in a country because of or you're a student, or in your country because of the cost of living, currency, whatever, for you, what you can donate, it's coffee money for me. Well, it's still coffee money. Nothing other than nothing, it's something. If a few thousand donates coffee money, I could make some kind of a salary. But no. I got a donation of a person who I also help in Discord, so it was not just for the course. One at the beginning of the course, and 2 more, and that's about it. Nothing else. That's why I'm not going to do mastery anytime soon. I will wait until I have some time, some return of investment, not necessarily get it, the ROI, at 0, but at least I see a trend that, okay, every month there's a few hundred at least, so eventually with years I will break even. Okay, because I have sacrificed a lot. I haven't used SuperMemo for more than 1 hour for me. Because if I use it, it's through, because of the course, or through tutoring sessions, not for my own usage. And because I have a full-time job. I do this on top of the full-time job. And the sacrifice has been too much. I want to go back and use SuperMemo as before, at least 1 hour a day. That's why if I sacrifice it, I consider that at least I get some money that will go to pay taxes and so on, because as many people, I live paycheck by paycheck. I don't have savings at all. That's all for now. See you incrementally. Let's continue now with the positive aspect, is the metacognition skills that I acquired during this course. And then what I have learned, let's say meta-learning, now comes the positives, the metacognition. So the effort I have put to divide, classify, put names on something, on classifications, like the styles. Oh, that's the bricklayer. That's the all of this. It helped me a lot, and has been an exercise, albeit massive, in literally hundreds of hours just for the course. So without counting the prerequisites, the knowledge of the SuperMemo features and so on. With this having into account, I needed a few hundred just to make sure of the sequence, the didactic aspect of the course, right? And with very little feedback, once again. So as a result, it's quite biased. It's my own style. But I think I did a pretty good job. Can be improved, absolutely. But I have put on so much time, so much love, that it's a good product. And now I see, when I see something new, is, oh yeah, it's like this kind of style. If you remember, very briefly, something during the course is how I do the repetitions. I don't read exactly what's there, word by word. I focus on the meaning, and I imagine like I have a conversation with my past self when I created the element, or the last time I rephrased the element, kind of that. So something on that way, that how I distill information, I imagine what if I watch the video. Hey, if I was a person in YouTube watching a sequence of videos, what will be the contents? Bam, bam, bam. So therefore, it's no longer endogamic, meaning, of course I don't do the course for myself. I do it for other people. But I don't use my own mental schemata, if that makes sense. Those are by mental models, but no. This is public. It's incremental writing, let's say. So I'm going to use from the point of view of the audience, not mine. Because incremental reading is very endogamic. If you watch most of my comments that I do in my topics, is what is this? Doesn't make any sense. Because it's for myself, right? And all of that metacognitions. Something I realized, discussing with Piotr Wozniak very briefly, that hey, in some videos, editing is whoops, I lapsed a key binding. Let's say I do Ctrl F8, but I say verbally Shift F8. So I actually don't lapse the key binding because physically I do it. It's just what I say is not what I do. And I wasn't even aware that I did this little mistake. There's also the layer of English, because I have to say shift, but my physical key doesn't say shift, says mayus, because it's a Spanish keyword. So I do another mental step in between. That adds a bias. But it's the same case. And what happened is not the same. Not the same knowing whatever fact than knowing how to teach that fact. So some of the flashcards I have about SuperMemo is not for me as a user. It's for me as a tutor or as a creator, content creator. So because I will apply this not in my genuine use of SuperMemo, but taking this into account on my videos. So this has been going beyond in the meta skills, metacognition, that I was not aware of, that changed, made it into my own collection. I have items that doesn't make any sense unless the purpose is for creating content or for tutoring. Let's continue with the positive stuff about what I have learned during this course. And it's a pleasant content creation. And deciding, I have those three, let me put those three flows, like the pros and cons or the properties, how they differ each other, and use analogies. During this was very, very pleasant. So that doesn't mean the videos. I mean the content. So if I publish this as a book, I will be the same. That, oh man, I really like it. And it's not for me, because again, I don't do the course for myself, but for other people. So that's what I have learned. I also have learned more of what I already knew, that it looks easy, but it takes a lot more time than you may think. Even if my videos are always the same, me speaking, most of the time I didn't zoom in or zoom out, only when it was required at the beginning. So most of what I do is just cutting, silences, mistakes, censoring some stuff. It's very mild, the edition I do. It's more than 800 videos in 180 days. That means an average of 6 videos per day while working full time. So that's more or less what I wanted to convey, in case you cared about the other side of the coin, what it means to do a full-fledged course. Because I could have done a course for 2 hours, charge it. By the way, I'm going to do it. I will do a version like a movie. Like instead of going to watch Avatar, that is a very an example of a long running time of a movie. It will be 2 hour, 3 hour video, one single video, paywalled, but it's condensed what you need to know. If the Fluency covers 80% in 40 hours, it could be perhaps 10%, half of the content, but in just 3 hours. So the density is more than tenfold. And I will pay all that because everything is available for free. It will just take you more time, perhaps. But more time has been needed by me to create and think the contents. I didn't track the time, but let me tell you, are in the thousands of hours. Almost every single day, night, should I say, weekends, holidays, and tired for the course. I reach a point that some people tell me that I don't have a life because I work, and I work. Yeah. Not that I'm complaining, I just wanted to make it happen. So the cost was very high, so I had to pay a very high cost. And I did this willingly. That's about it. So that is, my friend, my 2 cents about this course, the Pleasurable Guide to SuperMemo. And remember that in the title you have Pleasurable. If it was not pleasurable for me, I was not going to make it that long, 800 videos. Because I want to move on from SuperMemo and create other stuff, not just limiting to the scope of SuperMemo. Let's continue with the final point, easier tutoring for SuperMemo, one of the perks I got from doing this massive course for SuperMemo. And then when I see more recently, when I do tutoring, is as long as the tutoring is specifically for SuperMemo, because what I do is not limited to SuperMemo, it's a lot easier. Because now I can say, hey, have you watched the Fluency course until where? Oh, you're in the 12th section. Okay, gotcha. We can do this and do that. Then, instead of doing this, which I could do one-on-one and charge you, no, just follow the course and do the section of, I don't know, concepts, imports, and then we can continue. Because you have a specific goal, but what can be used for the course, you can do it. Then in the course, if you want, you can donate. Because to get from the value you have got. Basically, it's one-to-many. That's the purpose of the course. Is I record once, this is for everyone, and then you only get tutoring for what makes you unique. Oh, I have this goal. Or I have this goal, but with these restrictions. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, because for me it creates friction. Or whatever. So now, because I have the structure of the course, it's a lot easier. It's like a blueprint. When you have a course, hey, are you a beginner, an advanced, intermediate? Depends. If it is English, do you know the conditionals? You know how this grammar rule, this other grammar rule? So this classifies you as intermediate, right? So now we can see that, and hey, I have like some standard to put you on, more or less, and I can recommend a lot easier, because before it was, okay, you want backup, this and that, okay, you have the backups here, It was like pinpoint videos. Then it's no, you want templates, boom, the entire section of templates. I don't have to cherry pick videos of what you need. Here's the section, that's most of what you need for templates. And so on. And that is the last point of the list. Then, this is the latest section of the course and the last slideshow. But it's just in a slide. There's, as you may have seen a pattern in this section, there's almost no slides, right? And it's called You Incrementally. And there's a reason for that. I wanted to say goodbye like this, because it's like saying no goodbye at all. It's like see you sometime later on. We don't know when, but we take for granted there's an extra repetition scheduled. I just don't know the date, right? Why? Because there's an end of what I do. The course will be limited. My channel will be limited. My lifespan is limited. So I hope this course is evergreen. So whenever you watch that course, and you have watched hundreds or at least 50 hours of myself speaking, you will have been used to me, to my face, my voice, my speaking mannerism, my body language, and all of this. even if it's subconsciously, just because of the sheer exposure of watch time, right? So you will kind of have a perception that you know me at some degree, even if we never met in real life. That's why, like one-sided, I could say see incrementally, because you're gonna still see me, right? The same I can do with other creators myself, that I have followed for many years, but I have never met in real life, or even interacted. Or even if I drop a message, a comment, they will have never read that anyways, right? But hey, I have seen them aging or meeting goals in life. They grow, now they are successful in life, they get the job they wanted, then they get married, they have kids, family, they raise, more or less a stereotype, to simplify. I have seen that, it's been 15 years, right? So more or less it's this feeling. Then I'm reshooting this video. This is already done. It's because how I did it was like kind of pessimistic, or at least some comments I got in private DMs. It's like it was the end of the channel, something like that. That's why now when I'm doing the long format videos of the course, hey, let me reshoot it just to verify it's not the end of the world. It's the end of the cycle. That's it. And I'm doing this just in case for the people who are not going to continue with the mastery, I can transmit this to them. Basically, that was my reasoning. So this is it. Feel free to contact me. You don't know how painful, quote unquote, painful, taxing psychologically is to have recorded hundreds of videos about SuperMemo. They have been online, publicly accessible, worldwide. Well, all the people who can access to YouTube. And there are only 20 views, 50 views, and 0 comments. What I will tell myself here was that over SuperMemo, this is a gold mine of golden nuggets. People have paid for just a fraction of what they say here. That's a ton of value. And then I go to YouTube or to comments, and boom. Sorry, I responded. 0 comments. So if I go to YouTube, nothing. It's, oh my god, 1 year, 225 views, which is, if for you sounds little, for me, it's like double the average or even more, and 0 comments. You cannot know how painful is this. So I'm not saying that what is painful is this, the 200 views. No, this is painful. That I have spent an enormous time and effort, and because I'm on the other side of the coin, it's one too many, right? You get value, perhaps. I get some DMs, like our general, hey, thank you for your videos, but I don't get specific feedback. Oh, thank you for this video specifically. That's why sometimes I have this, I think I'm doing things on the void, right? I lack feedback at all. Even if it's negative, that, oh, this is a piece of shit, I will still, at least someone is mentioning something about the video, right? So I still wanted to convey, I'm not ranting, I just wanted to convey this idea. And more recently, if we go to my channel, I did the next iteration very recently, this month. It's 6 hours because it contains the other sections, but I added 3 hours and a half of new footage. And this is on steroids. It's even more valuable than the prior video, and it's longer. This includes even more value. And what happened? 45 videos, oh, it's just been only 4 days? Oh my god. Okay, 45 comments, 45 views, 0 comments. Not even the comment I was expecting. Oh wow, such a long video, I don't have time to watch that. Not even that. So that's why it's a message that I wanted to spend time with this, because my message is, hey, I know this is evergreen. Those videos are more personal, but this is the guide, the course. That's why I have done the course for more than a year and a half already, but with very little feedback, and I check the stats, demoralizing stats, that they have a video, full-fledged video, about something, let's say concepts or templates, and the average watch time is 2 minutes. Some videos are still unseen. No one on earth have seen the entire video just yet. But I know this is in the long term a success. That's why at the very end, I kept grinding and grinding and grinding. 1 year and a half for the Fluency cycle. Because I know that eventually this will have value. People just don't know. You have to watch the long video to realize the value. And some people realize it and tell me, I don't know why it's always private, so I cannot show it to you. That's why I know this will happen. And that is more or less the proof I wanted to show to you why I kept going, grinding to the very end. I'm not just done. I'll continue with the mastery cycle. But that's all for now.